morning, everybody. It's your girl Miracle Sims, and you're listening to God, Sex, and Love. Your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. It is February the 20th, 2024, and today the topic is sleeping with the enemy. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, everybody. I hope that you guys had a wonderful Monday. Mine was just fine. Yep, mine was good overall. Um, Not too much to share. Was supposed to do an episode of the GSL Talk Show, but that got rescheduled. And then outside of that, that was pretty much it because I was kind of trying to rest and make sure I had energy for that. And then yeah, it turned out to not happen. But either way, it's all good. That's again the blessing to be producing my own show. I ain't got to sit here and worry about all of that. And just hey, guests, just go ahead and sign up another day. But anywho, unfortunately, how did I get to this topic today? So, I saw um a post on social media this morning that I would say inspired this conversation. Um, it's an unfortunate story, and I don't know the individuals personally or anything like that, but to just pretty much share with you guys what I saw. Um, Basically people are mourning a couple, um seeming to be a young couple. I don't know if they were high school or college age, but I think somewhere around there. And apparently the girlfriend stabbed the boyfriend shot the girlfriend, they both went to the hospital, the girlfriend passed away, and then ultimately the boyfriend killed himself. Horrific story, man. Horrific. And so we're thinking about that and this whole conversation about domestic violence and things of this nature. That's pretty much the inspiration. Now, as I went deeper, obviously I feel like the Lord was showing me that it's not just couples that should be concerned and how it can trickle um, into the family in a variety of ways. Um, but I guess I'm here to hopefully remind us all just how important it is, that our choices are truly life changing. And one of those big, huge choices that we make light of for some reason is who we decide to date and marry and things of that nature. You know, a lot of people, they go around and they are literally sleeping with the enemy. Not only, the individuals that they are, I guess, in bed with, but, obviously, again, the spirits behind the people and whatnot as well. Now, again, I know we don't like to think about that. We don't like to think that there's any bad people, or any people that are used by the enemy and things of that nature. But I think we see that there's proof of that all around us. Again, I feel like that situation that I just shared with you guys is a clear indication that there's something wrong, with both of the individuals that was involved in that situation. You know, I, now again, I'm not sitting there trying to act like I'm perfect, and I'm not trying to sit here and act like any Christian is perfect either. Of course, we all have sinned and fallen short. Um, but in a loving Christ-filled marriage or loving Christ-filled relationship, I mean, those type of things, uh, I guess I would be wrong to say they don't happen because again, we're all humans, but I would say that it's like a rare occurrence in a loving Christ-filled, focused relationship and stuff. And again, this isn't just about couples, right? It's also about family, Um, Matter of fact, I heard another story recently. It was around Christmas time where they said, there was these brothers opening up gifts in Florida, and that led to gun violence, and deaths. If I'm not mistaken, I think they accidentally shot their sister or something like that. Like, who would ever think something like that would take place at a Christmas function? You opening gifts and you that mad to pull out guns, and now a family member is dead. You know what I mean? Like, now, obviously, again, there's a bigger issue at play. This issue of sin, this issue of um, people allowing the enemy to use them in any way. But I guess again, if we focus on this whole concept of sleeping with the enemy, I just find it interesting that when you hear about different things, right? I saw someone bragging and boasting about being a quote unquote the other woman, or whatever the other phrase for that is. You know what I'm saying? In a real, she was just pretty much bragging about being that, and I know about the wife, and saying all these different things, right? Um, we could literally be sleeping with the enemy. And then, what I was going to say about that is that, it's interesting that people are willing to lie down with someone else, right? But then they're not willing to have a baby with that person, right? They're not willing to marry that person. They're not willing to, do life with that person, be there for that person. Matter of fact, I listened to Sister Dana, one of her recent videos this morning. Well, no, it wasn't this morning, yesterday, and she was talking about marriage and how important that is, and the vows are, right? When you really break down the marriage vows and what that is saying, you are committing yourself to another individual, for better or for worse until death, um, and for whatever, again, we make light of those things for whatever reason. um, and it's sad, it's sad that we're in this state, that we, um, instead of valuing and having marriage and all these things in high regard, we often see the tension between men and women. We see, obviously the enemy is doing a great work in, not only just that, but breaking up families and marriages and all these different type of things. Oh, marriage is just a piece of paper. All the lies of the enemy, right? That is used to, um, try to thwart or break up God's design and perfect will. Um, so I hope this morning that this conversation will remind us of what things are supposed to look like, and hopefully will encourage you and inspire you, especially if you feel like you are in anything remotely similar to any of the things that I've just mentioned. Um, I hope and pray that, again, if you're in a dating situation, go, it's easier, I would say, to get out of that type of thing. Um, in a marriage situation, I know it might be a little bit more difficult, but still separating yourself and preserving your life and things of that nature is still very important. So, let God lead you on which exact moves to make, again, if you are someone that's actually going through any of the things that I just mentioned. But if so, or if not, I hope these words will encourage you and inspire you. So, first one, I felt led to just go deeper about men and women real quick. Because, I mean, it's easy to just go straight to say your husbands and wives and stuff. But, you know, the tension is the men and the women. Now, yes, every man is not a husband. And yes, every woman is not a wife. Um, but still, if we just show the value of both men and women, um, to start, I believe that that will be a good place, again, yeah, to start. So here we go. Genesis 1 and 27, it says, so God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. So, friends, God created both the male and the female. I think this is, again, why this issue that is going on right now about gender is so important. I know we don't like to say this, and this always might be controversial, but I believe, according to the Bible and according to that verse right there, is letting us know that there's only two, male and female. Whether you want to call that sex, gender, whatever you want to call it, there's only male and female. It's humans and animals, but hey, we're focused on the humans right now because the humans are the ones that's, doing the most. But anywho, um, so with that being said, both are valuable, both are made in the image of God, and both were created by God. Just because the artist decided to make another piece of art don't mean that the other piece of art isn't valuable. You know what I mean? And vice versa, um and again, that's why I feel like this conversation about gender and stuff is so important, because um if we could be quote unquote put in the wrong body and things of that nature, there's so many blurred lines when it comes to that. So then now, if someone who believes that they are a woman but they are a man could get in a fight with someone like me who is clearly a woman, and because I feel like I'm a woman. It's just so deep to where honestly, again, the lines are so blurred right now, like they're trying to get blurred, and that's why we as believers have to be bold, strong, and honest about what the truth is, and according to the Word of God, and according to just I say all of our human history, there's male and female, and both are valuable and important. Speaking of, 1 Corinthians 11:11 through 12 says, nevertheless, in the Lord, woman is not independent of man. So man is now born of woman, and all things are from God. And that's that. I mean, again, there's been some courses I've seen recently that, men and we believe women too on social media, they're pointing out, man, we need each other, men, women, we need each other, we need to stop. And that's so true. We do need each other. Yeah, okay, maybe perhaps the first woman came from the man, but every man and woman after came from the woman. Um, and both of them need it, again, yes, to create life, but even beyond that, being there for one another, a true loving marriage and relationship and things like that. It's just such a beautiful thing, and I hope that people are able to experience it. If you have not experienced it, and if it's your prayer and your desire and things like that, I hope that God gives you that opportunity to be a husband or wife. um because when you marry the right person, right, it's truly a beautiful experience. Like, I couldn't imagine being married to anyone else. Like, I think, or try to imagine, like, what would have been like if I had stayed with my ex, or any other dude before the guy that I'm with today. And I have no clue how it will be. I really truly appreciate my husband because, even though we may not fully agree on everything, and even though I can't sit here and say that we've like had no arguments and stuff. Like, I know that's rare to say, and I know people are like, because people do argue and stuff like that. I mean, the most I can say is we've had some disagreements to where, you know, uh, both of us had to maybe either come to one another and say, you know what, after we calm down about something, but it's never been no yelling, it's never been no cursing at each other, it's never been no calling me out of my name, it's never been no type of situation like that. I feel like my husband is a great example of what the biblical description of love. He's been patient, kind, all those things to me, and I try my best to be those things to him as well. And it just works, man. It just works, and it's biblical. Um, and that's what I mean about, again, marrying the right person, even dating the right person. Like, honestly, if you feel like you're in a situation, like if you're in anything remotely similar to what I experienced, and again, I can thank God that I never been in a like physical abusive situation. But I was in a mentally and verbally abusive situation, which is just as difficult, probably even more so, because then you're dealing with um like spiritual wounds. And what we was talking about the other day, I think we were talking about like soul wounds and things like that. You're dealing with something else on the whole mental and verbal abuse situation. So it's still considered to be, domestic violence as well. Um, Matter of fact, when I went deeper about domestic violence this morning, I went to gotquestions.org, and there was an article called "What is the Biblical Perspective on Domestic Violence?" And it broke things down, I believe, in a very helpful way. So I hope that you guys, if you need to go and check that out, by all means do so, because yeah, it was a good article to read. But anywho, but yeah, man, if you are in a dating situation, then I definitely would suggest, if you're in anything remotely similar to, a domestic violence, or, any type of abusive situation in a dating situation, then I hope that you have the courage, and that you will be encouraged and inspired to leave that situation. That is not a God-given relationship. You should rebuke it, move on, get around believers, get, some accountability, whatever you need to do to leave that alone. That's not something you want to stay in. Um, I know sometimes we get lonely, right? And we think, man, the person can change, and and that's all well and good. But in my Maya Angelou voice, if somebody shows you who they are, believe them. That's so true. At the end of the day, again, no shade to my ex or anything like that, but I'm just letting you guys know that he, with the way he talked to me, right? Um, and and it didn't start off that way. Obviously, things. Um, I don't even. It just honestly, I don't even know how it transpired. I just know we were about maybe together, maybe like a little over a year and some change, and maybe that's as that second year was coming, and the more serious talk about, ooh, should we get married, and all these different type of things will come up. I don't know if that's where things shifted, but ultimately, I realized that that wasn't a situation I needed to stay in. And yeah, so I hope that again, if you're in a dating situation, please be encouraged and inspired to move on. There's plenty of fish in the sea, as they say, and God has someone for you that um not only is better for you, but like that will treat you according to what the Bible says you should be treated, and vice versa. You got to be willing to treat somebody the way that the Bible tells you to treat them as well. We're gonna get into that in just a second, but let's talk about husbands and wives as well. Like, again, some people like to do the whole little play fight thing. Some people like to go tit for tat and all that type of stuff. Again, I'm not no arguer and stuff like that. So I appreciate the type of relationship that I have where me and my husband, we'll talk about things. There might be like a little strong debate or something like that. But outside of that, I can't sit here and say that me and him yell at each other, argue, none of that type of stuff. Um, and I don't think I will thrive well in a relationship that did that. Again, that's a little bit of what I was experiencing with my ex, like having to raise my voice in order to just be heard at all, things of that nature. And so, getting out of my own self, right, and things like that. So, if you're in a marriage like that, I know it's different, right? It's I would say that it's different than a dating situation. So again, it might be a little bit more difficult to just quote unquote leave or something like that. But again, seek the Lord on the best way to handle the situation, whether that be counseling, separation for a little while, whatever it might be. Um, let the Lord lead you and guide you on that. But speaking of, let's talk about how marriage should look, right? The husband and the wife, the treatment and things of that nature. So let's go to Colossians 3 and 19. It says, husbands, love your wives and do not be harsh with them. I mean, of course, we can go on and on. There's so much in the Bible that talks to the husband. And of course, again, they are the heads and everything like that. Um, but again, this is just very clear that you should love your wife. Like there should be no type of abuse happening in your relationship with your wife. And I would say even vice versa. Now, of course, I believe the specific verses that are to the wives is to respect the husband and things like that, submitting and things of that nature. And I know we don't like to hear that as women, right? Well, some of us. I'm not talking about all, but there's quite a few women, especially in these days and times. We want to think we're independent. We don't need the man or all we need is him to take care of us or whatever we feel, right? Um, and then we want to forget about the part of having to just let them lead, you know what I mean? And things of that nature. It's just very interesting the dynamics between the two. So again, if you're going to enter into any type of, especially a marriage situation, let's talk about that. Let's just keep focused on the marriage thing. If you wanted to enter into any type of marriage, whether you're the husband or the wife, you again got to take those vows seriously. You got to be willing to be a helpmate to that person, whether that person's up or down, whether the finances are up or down, whether that person's sick or not. Like all of that stuff matters. And if you're not ready to be that to somebody else, till death do you part, then you might not be ready for marriage. That might not be your calling right now. You know what I'm saying? And again, I know we like to, we want what we want and everything like that, but I can sit here and admit that during the cultivation period, I don't think I was fully ready. Like, I mean, I thought I was back then, but I believe that there's a lot of things that between then and when I actually met my husband and then now being in the marriage relationship and stuff like that, then who knows? Like maybe old Miracle would have handled it or my husband in a different way, or whatever. Who knows? Not that I was out here treating dudes bad or nothing. I think if nothing, old Miracle was probably more quote unquote naive. That's what someone said about me at some point. It wasn't a dude, but still, I guess, maybe I was so into the love, hopeful, romantic side of things that, maybe I was kind of blinded to, again, what true marriage would look like in regards to, again, being able to listen to my husband, right? Being able to, be there for him in those low moments, being able to try to encourage and inspire him versus tearing him down, and other things that, the word talks about, that women, uh, or being a quarrelsome wife and things of that nature. Like, instead of being that type of wife, instead of being a Jezebel type of wife, right? Being more like a Esther, right? Who knew her place, what I mean? That knew that, hey, at the end of the day, if I perish, I'll perish. I'm about to cross some lines, but I'm about to do this humbly. She humbly came before him. She didn't just come at him and, start spouting out Haman such and such. She prepared a feast. Like, we just got to really take a look at these biblical women, and men, right? And see what the Lord wants us to know about marriage, and how we should be interacting with each other and things of that nature. Like I said, it's very sad to hear about that couple this morning. It's very sad to hear about anybody going through any type of domestic, physical, mental, any type of abuse, y'all. And so, men and women, we got to treat each other better. We got to, be better at our positions and things like that, because it matters. And not only that, it affects everything. It affects, yes, you two, but it also affects your household. If you guys have kids, things of that nature, it matters. Here's go a verse. It's Ephesians 6:4. It says, fathers, do not provoke your children to anger, but bring them up in the discipline and instruction of the Lord. What do you think would happen to your children to see you as a father abusing their mother in any way, or vice versa? What would you think that would do to your children for you as a wife or mother, or girlfriend or whoever, to be treating the man in any type of abusive way? It would truly have an effect on both the girls and the boys. And so these are things that we need to think about at the end of the day. Like, these are things we need to think about when we're dating. Again, I know dating is not necessarily a biblical concept, or whatever the case may be, especially the way that we do it today. Um, but still, I mean, it's just something that we truly should think about. Like, if you are not, uh, mentally and all of that, able and stable enough to, be able to have conversations, have disagreements without getting angry, being able to, again, show love, regardless of what the other person do. And I know that's difficult as well. It's hard to think like, oh, you talk about it. If you don't do what I want, then I still got to do. Yeah, according to the Bible, yeah. Sorry, you know what I'm saying, and vice versa. And so it's just one of those things that we got to go deeper about, again, as individuals, men and women. We got to go deeper about this as husbands and wives and whatnot as well. I believe, I guess the juice this morning is to just let's stay prayed up about these different relationships that especially the ones that we enter. Right. I know we can't do much about like family and things of that nature, like the family you were born into, but the family that you choose, like your friends and the people you date and things of that nature. These are a lot of things just to consider ahead of time, like before you really get in bed with the enemy. um yeah, I would ask myself, man, do I see myself building a life with this person, and or do I see myself having a family with this person before I even, consider getting in bed with the person? And I guess that's the juice, y'all. That's the juice. Now, the Bible verse of today is Hebrews 13:16, and it says, and don't forget to do good and to share with those in need. These are the sacrifices that please God. Friends, I hope you all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration and juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day. And I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye. There you go. Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, anybody listening to the sound of my voice. I hope that you all are encouraged and inspired. Yeah, I mean, that might be a lot of stuff y'all don't like to hear and stuff like that, but I hope, again, it will help somebody, especially if you are in anything remotely close to those situations. If you're not, thank and praise God that you're not in, and try to stay away from such things and people and things of that nature. It's like I said, it's very sad to hear that people are just taking each other's lives, and who knows what it was over. You know what I mean? Like why I don't even know anything that I would stab my husband over. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't believe that he would pull a gun on me on anything. So to hear about a relationship that ended in that way, is just terrible. And that, I mean, that's just not even scratches the surface on all that type of evil stuff that goes on every day. And so I believe that all of this is an indication of what life looks like without God. Like, we got to have a relationship with God personally in order to truly love others. And like I said, that's the juice, y'all. That's the juice. I won't sit here and hold y'all too long. I'm gonna get ready to go because I think we finally gonna take my car to get fixed. So that's one thing. And then yeah, that's all about that. But y'all have a wonderful, wonderful day. And I look forward to talking to y'all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Bye.